93.7 WDJC with December Radio. That one is called Believer. And thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. It is the Jon Walden Show, taking you all the way till midnight. And right now, part of the show, where I always just like to slow it down for a few minutes and just get intimate with God and dive into His Word. And still in the studio tonight, got my man Matt Martin from the Elevation Ministry over in Anniston, the first Tuesday of every single month, which means this upcoming Tuesday, you got to head on out to Edgewood Church and be a part of the awesome ministry. But excited about the Word he's got for us tonight. So what you going to bring, buddy?
All right, man, tonight we're going to be looking into Nehemiah. I've been teaching a lot out of Nehemiah lately, and we're going to be looking at the first 4 chapters and just looking at some lessons of great leadership. You know, if you know anything about Nehemiah, he came from, being cupbearer to the king in the Persian Empire under the greatest ruler in the world at the time, to being to leading the people of Jerusalem to rebuild the walls of the city in 52 days, along, of course, with God's help. And the first thing I want to say is, Nehemiah's first concern was the people. If we're going to live this life, we want to be concerned with the people. If we're going to ever reach anybody for God, and Nehemiah asked, he said, "How is the Jewish remnant?" He wanted to know, because that's what he was broken for. He cared more about the people than he did anything else. And if you look for a great leader, you find somebody who cares about the people more than he cares about anything. And immediately when he found out that Jerusalem was in such a bad state, he began to weep and began to be broken for the people. If you want to reach people, you got to be broken for them. Another great lesson in leadership. Nehemiah also, he led by example. He didn't just tell the people what to do, but he showed them. While the people were asleep, Nehemiah was going around and he was checking the walls of Jerusalem to see what the shape was in. Because, a great leader, if you're looking for a great leader, find one that's working while everyone else is asleep. Nehemiah thought it was worthy enough to stay up, to spend the extra time, to examine everything, to find out what he needed to show the people. And Nehemiah prayed, "Now strengthen my hands to the work." Nehemiah prayed that immediately following, after Sanballat and Tobiah and Geshem had come and they had just mashed his name into the ground and they had begun to try to discourage the people, Nehemiah said, "Now God strengthen my hand to the work." He wasn't concerned with the problem. He was concerned with the solution. If you want to find a great leader, find someone who's concerned about the solution, who's not looking at all the criticism. Because if Sanballat and them would have really believed that the Jerusalem would not be rebuilt, they wouldn't even have bothered to go and try to defeat the people, to go and try to discourage them. Nehemiah was also a great motivator. If you look in the first few chapters, you see Nehemiah, and he's there, and the people are broken, and they're living in a broken city due to their sins. The walls are broken down, and it's been so bad for so long that they began to think that this is normal. But this is God's people, and they're living in ruins. And he came in and he showed them that with God we can. And isn't that true with all of us, that with God we can? And that's what we know, like when we're trying to reach the city of Anniston, with God we can. On our own power we can't. And if you want to change a city, if you want to change your city where you're at, change the people's perception. Nehemiah took the people from being defeated and being downcast and being hard-hearted and not thinking they could do anything right, and they rebuilt the city in 52 days. They would have built it sooner, but the last half of that, they had to rebuild the walls and stack brick with one hand and hold weapons in the other, because people were trying to come against them. He changed their perception. If you can change the perception of the people in your city, then you can change everything. When you get people from thinking that they're losers to thinking that they're winners, and that with God they can, it changes everything. Show the people that it's a worthy cause. And with God, all of us can. So if we look at Nehemiah, we see that we're going to have to be broken for the people. That we're going to have to be willing to work when no one else is willing to work. That we're going to have to be passionate for the people. Many times it says that Nehemiah wept for the people, and he was broken. And actually for 4 months before he ever entered the king's presence, he was spent in prayer. That's another key thing to great leadership, is that time in prayer. So if you're out there and you're leading a church, you're leading a youth group, maybe you're leading a mission like we are with Elevation to try to reach the city, take some lessons from Nehemiah on being a great leader and be broken for your people and realize that with God we can.
Amen, dude. Awesome word, and that's just a little taste of the heart of the ministry that is Elevation over in Anniston at Edgewood Church. First Tuesday of every single month, we want you to check it out, and it's coming up this Tuesday. So come on out. You can get there at 6 and get fed. They're going to take care of you with some free food. Then at 7 o'clock is when the service officially kicks off. So come on out. You can give them a call at the church for more information, 256-236-2577. Now, we got that word, and remember, always want to take your prayer requests. You can email me any time of day at Jon, that's Jon, at WDJConline.com. And always remember, if you want me to share your prayer request request on the show, I can do that. If you want me to keep it to myself, I can make that happen for you as well. But know that I'm here for you. I love you. Want to pray for you. All right, let's take the time to worship after getting that awesome word from Matt Martin and bring you God of this City from Blue Tree on 93.7 WDJC.